Happy Monday, everyone. All right. So recently, parents have been asking me, Melissa, why does my child behave one way for me and another way for my spouse and maybe another way at school? And specifically, if you are a mom and your child seems to act the worst way with you, it can be easy to start believing that you are part of the problem. I've certainly been there myself. So if you're watching this video live or on replay, comment with a hi or something longer if this is a topic that resonates with you. I love to see who's catching these videos. If we haven't met yet, my name is Melissa Corkum. I'm a parent, coach, and post-adoption support specialist and creator of the real-life behavior plan system, bringing you brain-based solutions to challenging behaviors so that you can laugh more and yell less. You can find more information about how I support families at thecorkboardonline.com. And if you're watching the replay on Instagram or YouTube, I invite you to join our free Facebook community, thecorkboardonline.com/Facebook. And that's a great place to ask your questions. And even if you have something like a topic you want me to cover here on a Monday Live, that is the best place to ask it. And also get lots of support from other parents who are also parenting kids of challenging behaviors. So there are three main reasons why I teach that kids can act one way for one caregiver and one way for another. So the first one has to do with polyvagal state and something called restraint collapse. So there are three polyvagal states of the nervous system. At the top of the polyvagal ladder, our nervous system is regulated, it is brave and open to connection. And sometimes this is also called rest digest. So this is where all the other regulatory parts of our nervous system are working well. It's also where our body is able to reset, find healing, rejuvenate mentally and physically. However, if the nervous system perceives a threat, it will initially activate to the next polyvagal state of fight or flight. If the threat is continuous or too great for fight or flight, then the nervous system enters what we call a dorsal vagal shutdown. That's the very bottom of the polyvagal ladder. And that state is something that you may be familiar with as freeze. Besides like the dissociation or freeze behavior that we commonly think of, this can also cause our children to act in a way where they're wanting to kind of fly under the radar, not be noticed. And so that looks like sometimes compliant behavior, but compliance almost out of fear. So a child who behaves at school but then falls apart at home may be experiencing what we call restraint collapse. There may be something about the school situation that triggers a fear response in your child's nervous system, even though you 100% know that they're safe, but this is how their nervous system interprets the world because of their past experiences. And so then they feel safe enough to move one step up the polyvagal ladder to that activated fight flight response when they come home to you. But they're not quite regulated enough to get to the top where they can also be compliant for the right reasons for you. So sometimes that good behavior for other people is not necessarily better, if that makes sense. Okay. The second reason why kids behave differently with different people is attachment challenges, or just attachment in general. If your child came to you through adoption or foster care, there are probably attachment challenges. It's not uncommon for a child to have different relationships and behaviors with different people based on their attachment relationship to that person. A lot of time, closer relationships pose a greater threat to the child with a history of disrupted attachment, which means that close relationships trigger more volatile reactions and behaviors from the child. So you may see this where maybe like mom as a primary attachment figure might be the biggest trigger for your child. I am the biggest trigger for a couple of my kids because of attachment challenges. And then lastly, unfortunately, in some ways, but also in an empowering way, each individual person's regulation state, your own regulation state, can influence your child's regulation state, which then impacts their behavior. So circling back to brain science for a second, let's remember mirror neurons. Our nervous systems are giving off billions of bits of information to the nervous system, to all the nervous systems around us. And these are billions of bits of information that we're not aware of. They're nonverbal, almost subconscious. So yesterday we were going on a family walk, and we were at a little pond in our neighborhood. And our daughter had our granddaughter, and she basically was like, I can't swim, you can't swim, don't go in that pond. If we go in that pond, we're going to die. And that was extrinsic information, like actual verbal words that she was giving to our granddaughter. But there was also a nervous system of, I don't know if I can, manage a toddler by a pond, that when she went to go make a move with our granddaughter towards the pond, our granddaughter flipped her lid. I mean, she was just, you could hear the terror in her cry. And I thought, oh my goodness, like we can't be, the wrong kind of afraid of the cute little duck pond. We don't want to go jumping into it, but we want to be able to walk next to it and, look for the fish and all of those things. And so I picked her up and I used my own co-regulation, my regulation to co-regulate her. And I looked at her and I did use some extrinsic words to say, hey, Yaya can swim and we're going to go near the pond. I will keep you safe. But in order for that to matter to our granddaughter, my nervous system had to also be matching the words that I was giving. I had to be regulated, feel confident that I knew what I was doing. Her nervous system needed to be able to trust my nervous system. And so it took a couple minutes, but then she was able to go with me down to the pond and start exploring. And after just a couple of minutes, not only was she able to go with me down to the pond, she wanted to get down and start exploring for herself. So don't underestimate the power of other people's nervous systems and how they're affecting your child, which may be influencing their behavior. All right. So if you are interested in having more confidence in managing your child's challenging behaviors from this brain-based perspective, I have a couple spots open for my 60-day intensive. This is a one-on-one program that I walk families through that includes access to the Safe and Sound protocol, training in my real-life behavior plan system, daily private coaching on one of my favorite apps called Voxer, which is like walkie-talkie access to me. I tell people it's like having a parent coach in your back pocket. So I only have room to do this with a couple families at a time, or a limited number of families at a time, because I give so much one-on-one support, but I do have a couple openings. So if you are interested, you can schedule a free behavior management audit to see if this is a good fit for your family. And you can do that at thecorkboardonline.com/appointments right there. And if you are watching this video specifically on Instagram TV, I know links, there's not a good way to provide links. And if you'd like a clickable link to schedule an appointment to chat, it's just a quick 30-minute free phone call, then go ahead and drop me a comment on this video that says, I want to chat or something like that. And I will DM you a link that you can click. All right. Happy Monday. And until next week, you are a good parent and you're doing good work.